going on, Chicken Knife? It's found on BX Turk, and I came here with another theory, possible theory, but the Pitoss ruins. I think there's even deeper secrets of the Pitoss ruins than what you know already. Now, what could this Pitoss dungeon secret ruins secret could be? It could be anything. Anything's possible. But also, there's also things that just I can't get out of my mind. In fact, it kept me from sleeping. It was this bad, and it's the probability that maybe Tabitha designed it where you can't get there, and that's why you have to take a flying car. Maybe that was supposed to be cut out but never did, or maybe Tetsuo Nomura snuck in some of his vision of Final Fantasy XV without anyone knowing it, because for a long time the Pitoss ruins was a secret amongst the Final Fantasy fanbase until someone actually found it using the flying regalia, and then soon everybody else was able to find it. And I think this could be also a possible connection to the fabulous Crystallis Nova. I think even before the time of Eos, and this is my theory only, but I think even before the time of Eos, before she got in prison for mating with a human and creating Nephilims that we call the Lucius Kylian bloodline, which they're pretty much Nephilims. If you don't know, that means is pretty much if an angel or god has sex with a human and out comes a spawn, which actually kind of makes sense why Eos would be punished. I mean, look at this. One of her sons, Arden, became the most evilest character in Final Fantasy by far. So maybe, I'm not saying it's justified. I mean, to be honest, I don't agree with killing no matter what goes on, but that's just me right here. But before it became a prison for Eos to be tortured and killed for mating with the human beings, which caused Ifrit to do what Ifrit did, which you can go back and look at that theory. I made a theory about that a long time ago. Look at my Final Fantasy 15 playlist. But there's also, I think before all of this used to be one of Etro's temples. That temple, one of her original temples, that people worshipped in. And because this Pitoss Ruins is far more than just a dungeon. It became a dungeon because it became abandoned. And it's been covered up by mountains, so you had to use the flying regalia to get to it. And it was hidden. I think it's possible in the world of Eos. Before Eos's time. And I still think that Final Fantasy 15 is connected to 13. I think 5,000 years after the Lightning Saga. Because this would be in the new world that Benevelza created. Pulse is destroyed, so there's no rebuilding Pulse. Pulse is gone. So this is the new world that Lightning defeated Benevelza for and saved the world. And now this is 5,000 years after this, so Lightning was probably killed off or at least died of old age because she didn't take the mantle of Etro or Benevelza. She remained human. So she's neither Etro or Benevelza at this point. Now, I know this sounds crazy. This sounds like I'm hopped up on some marijuana and some PCP, but if you really have the same thought process this as me, this will make so much sense to you. But I think this could be one of Etro's ancient temples, because I think before Eos's time, there used to be a town in the mountains, in the Ravatos Mountains, and, before the monsters and demons came with a scourge. I think the demons of the Star Scourges, scared off the human beings, so the towns and buildings and villages are destroying any survivals, which would also possibly include even a few of the Orban Bride members that probably live here, and this is where their origin comes from. This small town was next to the temple in Ravatos, and then somehow mountains grew over that, so it was impossible to go back there. But I think the Pitoss Ruins is one of Etro's biggest temples back when it was first constructed, and it only fell apart because, this temple is very ancient. This temple has been here before the Lucius Kylian bloodline. This temple has been there for a long time, ever since that world was corrupted by Benevelza, or the Foul Sea, and then lightning saved that world. This temple's possibly been here, since the beginning of lightning's return, since after lightning's sleep in this small town of Ravitos. Ravitos Mountain was named off this town that used to exist of Etro worshippers, and a few of those Etro worshippers could also be the origin of the Orbanbright Red Mage clan. Now, I know you think I'm hopped up on drugs, but this makes a lot of sense, because I still think that the fabula Crystallis Nova still affects Final Fantasy 15 just because it's Final Fantasy 15. Numbers don't really matter at this point. I said this before, it doesn't. Final Fantasy Tactics goes into Final Fantasy 12. Final Fantasy 10 goes into Final Fantasy 7. Yes, games are connected. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but they are. 15 is the aftermath of the Fabula Crystallis Nova, the last chapter of the Fabula Crystallis Nova. And Tabata couldn't scrap everything else, as we saw a picture of Etro in the Kingsglaive movie. Now, you want to explain how that is a movie that's clearly canon. I don't care if you think it's bad, a movie. Bad or good, it's still canon to the game. So, Tabata couldn't scrap everything. And I believe that there's some of the Fabula Crystallis Nova still in the Pitoss ruins. That this was once a temple of Etro. For the children of Etro, one of their biggest temples. If I could say this was a mega church for Etro, to make sense to people who don't know what I'm talking about. Imagine a mega church, but this is an ancient mega church that existed a long, long, long time ago, way before the events of 15, and pretty much in the middle of the ending of the Lightning Saga, or when this world was created, possibly. So maybe during the time when Lightning was fighting the Foul Sea in Final Fantasy 13, and Benevelza's created this world and already prepared this world, And the reason why there's stone tablets you slash up and stuff like that, the only reason why these stone tablets exist, the ones you have to do to unlock it, is because the children of Etro put those stone tablets to not go too far. Because this probably even existed before they took it over as a temple, before the town of Ravitos. But I still think before it was a prison for Eos. And Eos is probably an incarnation of Etro. And that explains everything. She couldn't just get in trouble for just creating Nephilim, which were the Lucius Kylian bloodline, and the Astrals. But also the fact is, Eos is a goddess of death, because in the original concept of Versus 13, people worship Etro. The Lucius Kylian worship Etro. All they did was rewrite everything. Instead of worshiping a goddess of death, because China wouldn't have that stuff, they wouldn't have that in their games. They just rewritten everything. But the Lucius Kylian bloodline, if you see the painting in, almost in the close to the throne room where it shows Eos, the Astros, and Lucius Kylian bloodline, in that painting where King Regis is dreading the day where Noctis has to die. Pretty much, the Lucius Kylian bloodline worships Eos, because that's the goddess they worship. That's where they originally come from. Except for Arden. Arden is one of the exceptions, because Arden's evil. Arden pretty much became the evil of it. And this is where the Astrals are Foul Sea. They're other Foul Sea created by this new Etro. This new Etro, Eos, is even powerful than Lightning Etro and the Etro before that, because Eos could create, unlike all the other Etros, Eos could create life and new Foul Seas to look out the world. And those were the Astrals, which would also go into the Type Zero's final judgment. Because in order for the world to end, there's signs. There's 3 times in the Final Fantasy 13 Fabula Crystallis Nova where the world has ended, where there was the end of the world, such as Type Zero's final judgment, such as Final Fantasy 13's 2 paradoxes and the timeline shifts, and then Lightning's return, and then The last one where the final part of the ending of the world was Final Fantasy XV's Star Scourge, where the Star Scourge has taken over the world and turned people into demons. And I'm talking about the complete one after Noctis gets trapped with the crystal to break out the final and strongest Foul Sea. One that was designed to look like Benevelza, Bahamut. And Bahamut, as an overseer, helps them and they reclaim the world of light. But there's 3 times the world has come to an ending. So the Pitoss Ruins, what I'm saying is the Pitoss Ruins is proof of the fabula Crystallis Nova. And that's why Tabitha wanted to hide it. So man, the Crystal Reading, tell me what you think. Like and subscribe and comment below what you think.